Hello everybody, welcome to Wednesday's English session, all about using those embedded clauses. Now I know we did this with our fiction work, so now we're going to look at using embedded clauses when we are doing non-fiction. So remember, embedded clauses, all about adding information. Right, I have 3 sentences here. Which of these is an embedded clause? So pause me if you need to, have a read of these sentences and decide which of those is an embedded clause. And if the others aren't, what are they instead? Do they have any other skills that they're using? Am I trying to trick you with my choices of sentences? Let me read them for you. Number 1, Liam packed a statue of St. Christopher, which had a bobbly head. As the children, who were excited, boarded the rocket, Liam felt a bubble in his chest. The possibility building, as gargantuan as a giant, looms over the Gobi Desert. All interesting sentences. All of them add extra information, which is what an embedded clause does. But are they all embedded clauses? Well, let's look at the first one. Liam packed a statue of St. Christopher, which had a bobbly head. Well, that isn't in the middle of our sentence. Remember, embedded means it's in the middle of our sentence. It must have at least 3 sections, or the other way, because I'm in a mirror. There we go. So this is actually what? What kind of sentence is this? Oh, it's got our which here. So this is a relative clause. It is not embedded. It's not a rembedded one because it's not in the middle. Okay, as the children, who were excited, boarded the rocket, Liam felt a bubble in his chest. Okay, looking for that bit which you can take away and the sentence still makes sense. As the children boarded the rocket, Liam felt a bubble in his chest. Now this bit is our clause, but is it an embedded clause? Well, have a look at this key word. Now this is who, which is one of our relative words, which means this is a rembedded. So we've got a relative clause. We've got a rembedded, a relative embedded clause. Let's have a look at the last one. The possibility building, as gargantuan as a giant, looms over the Gobi Desert. Well, can we take out that middle bit? Can we take out this middle section? Let's see. The possibility building looms over the Gobi Desert. Yes, that makes sense. But we can add so much more detail by putting in a cheeky simile. As gargantuan as a giant. That gives us more information. It's got my comma sandwich bread here. So that is our embedded clause. Okay, now write a definition for an embedded clause. What is an embedded clause? And then make a checklist of steps to success for using one in your writing. What do you need to remember? Feel free to have a peek back at last week's videos or some of the embedded clause help sheets to help you out here. When you're ready, unpause me and we will move on. Okay, now today's lesson is split. Here is your decision. How confident are you with embedded clauses? Did you get loads in your story last week? Are you super proud of how brilliantly you use embedded clauses? If you are feeling super secure, you are going to go on to this bit first. Okay, this is your mini burst. And what I want you to do is write some driving instructions in Infinity Park. On the website, there is a waggle, what a good one looks like, of driving instructions in Infinity Park. So I want you to read that, highlight all of the embedded clauses, see if you can spot them all, and then write your own waggle. Okay, so your version must have lots of embedded clauses. I don't want 2 or 3. I want 6, 7, 8 embedded clauses. I want you to wow me and pepper your writing full of embedded clauses. You can always revisit page 122 to 133 of Cosmic to help out, and if you don't have a copy of the book, then head over to Tuesday the 26th of January's guided reading video. If you want a bit of extra practice, if you're like, oh, I quite like embedded clauses, but I feel like I need a reminder, then we're going to go down this road. We're going to do some extra practice today, because this is our embedded clause super session. We're going to talk about finding embedded clauses, adding the right punctuation to them, and then writing sentences to add embedded clauses to. So you can pop along or you can stay along in this video for our super session, and then if you want to challenge yourself you can have a go at the mini burst afterwards. So if you're still with me and you haven't gone off to find the mini burst, let's start our embedded clauses super session. Okay, super session part 1. Where is the embedded clause? Well, remember, our embedded clause is the bit we can take out of the middle of the sentence and the whole sentence will still make sense. So here is the middle of my sentence here. It says swirling madly. Let's double check and see if it fits with the rest of our rules. Does it have a comma on either side of it? Yep, it does. It's got the vortex, comma, swirling madly, comma. If I take it out, will it still make sense? The vortex made riders feel sick. Yes, that makes sense. But if we add in swirling madly, it's giving us so much more information and making our writing pop. Okay, have a look at your example sheet and see if you can find all of the examples of embedded clauses. And then your challenge here is, can you think of your own embedded clause to replace the one in the sentence? So up here, instead of swirling madly, I might have the vortex, zooming speedily, made the riders feel sick. So I've added my comma there. So I've replaced that and I thought of a different one. Can you do that with one of those in the sentence? Okay. When you're ready, we'll move on to the super session part 2. Okay, super session part 2. Where should my commas go? Well, I've got a sentence here with an embedded clause, but I've forgotten to put my commas in. How can I do it? How can I add in my commas? Well, my top tip here is read out the sentence out loud to check. 2 things you are looking at is, where do I pause naturally when I'm speaking? And what part I could get rid of and the sentence would still make sense, because that part is going to be our embedded clause. So, Liam and Florida, completely out of the blue, began to laugh maniacally. That means madly, like ha 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 ha. Listen again. Liam and Florida, completely out of the blue, began to laugh maniacally. Where did I pause? I think I paused after Liam and Florida, so I think I paused over here. And then I think I paused again after blue. So that makes me think that my embedded clause is probably this one here, this part of my sentence, completely out of the blue. How do I check? Before I add my commas in, how can I check? I can take this out and read the sentence without it. Liam and Florida began to laugh maniacally. That makes sense. But we've added in extra information that they did it suddenly. They did it out of nowhere. Just completely fine, ha ha ha, they've gone crazy. So that is adding extra information. So my commas, where are they going to go? They're going to go Liam in Florida, comma, completely out of the blue, comma, began to laugh maniacally. Okay, now add the commas to the clauses on your sheet. Okay, so have a look at the next part. Add in the commas to the clauses on your sheet. Have a look at my example and remember to check by reading it out loud to yourself and then also taking away one part and seeing if the sentence still makes sense. Okay, make sure that sentence still makes sense. Okay, and then your challenge, can you think of your own embedded clause to replace the one in the sentence? So see if you can replace this embedded clause with something completely different. I'm going to pause there because the doorbell just rang. Okay, welcome back. That was a very exciting delivery of printer ink, if you're wondering what the doorbell was. Okay, so have a go at the commas, adding them to the clauses on your sheet, and then we'll go on to the third part of the super session. Okay, super session part 3. Can we write a sentence using the noun rocket. Now, this doesn't have to be a complicated sentence. I just want a sentence about a rocket. So pause me while you write your own, and then I'm going to write one, and then we'll do a shared one together, and then you can have a go at upscaling your own one with an embedded clause. So, let me get my type out. Whoop. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to say the colossal rocket towered over Liam and Florida. And that's a nice sentence. It's got colossal in, so it's a nice description, and it's got towered, which is quite a nice image of a huge, very tall rocket. Okay, can we add extra information about the rocket using an embedded clause? Have a think about your own sentence. How would you add in an embedded clause? Let me rewrite it down here so I can add in. So, now the embedded clause is going to follow the noun of the rocket. So, the colossal rocket, what do I need here? Thinking back to session part 2, I need my comma. The colossal rocket, and I'm going to leave a gap there, and I'm going to say another comma because I know it's going to end with an embedded clause. The colossal rocket towered over Liam and Florida. And I just need to fix that spacing mistake. There we go. Right, the colossal rocket. Right, so we want to add extra information. We want to tell the reader what we're picturing when we look at this rocket. So, the colossal rocket. How can I describe it? Remember, it's an embedded clause, not a relative embedded clause today. The colossal rocket, painted with glowing silver stars, towered over Liam and Florida. So I've got the colossal rocket painted with glowing silver stars, towered over Liam and Florida. So I've added extra information. So I've got my noun here, which is rocket. I've got my commas, one there and one there. And then I've got my extra information here, my embedded clause here. And I can tell that that has added extra information because I started with a sentence that made sense without it. So that is one of the ways we can add an embedded clause. Okay, your task now. Can you write a sentence using the noun on your sheet? And then below, rewrite it just like we've done with an embedded clause directly after the noun. Okay, have a go at that. And I believe that's the last part of our super session today. I hope you are feeling more confident with your embedded clauses. And if you want to challenge yourself even further, you can have a go at writing your own driving instructions. So head on back to the start of this video where I gave those instructions. Happy Wednesday, guys. Bye.